Hey, what's going on, everybody? Michael Daly back at you guys, the host of the Real 1% podcast, where we talk about transitioning from military life to civilian. My next guest is an ex-Special Forces Green Beret Army soldier. He was at 18 Charlie, which is a Special Forces engineer. He lives in Northwest Illinois with his amazing wife and awesome kids. And he also was proactive while he was in the service. He completed a lot of schooling and got some college degree when he was in, got it all paid for. Can't go wrong, right? I didn't take that up when I was in. Looking back on it, I should have just powered through it, went to AMU or something like that, used the tuition assistance and kept going. But hindsight 2020, we're going to move on and keep pressing. He's on his journey after the military. He states that he's on a journey of a lifetime to redesign his solar system of post-service life, which we all pretty much are, right? His life keeps him busy. He found great peace, passion, and a love in the wild, and he also likes to hunt. Probably instead of hunting people, now he's probably hunting animals, which is probably a little bit better for him and his family, a little bit safer as well. So I'm sure you could touch on that. His only goals are to live in the present with his family, which is great. We all know the military doesn't give us as much time as we deserve with our family, but that's the sacrifice we all make. And he's in a place in life where he never wants to miss another season, whether it's his kids, whether it's his wife or friends. So without further ado, we got my main man, Zach, today. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing pretty good, Mike. Pretty good.
I appreciate you being here, man. So, just to start things off, what made you want to join the Army?
It's kind of funny. I didn't want to go to college.
Okay.
That was it. That was the sole reason. I was 18. I was in a small town. I was looking at moving to Chicago. I wanted to be a diesel mechanic and work on high-end vehicles or high-end diesel vehicles. And then it was 2006. The economy was crap. I was like, man, I'm not ready for college. I don't want to go to a real college. I need some job experience. And ironically enough, I went to join the Coast Guard first.
Okay.
I went right to the Coast Guard's office, walked in. I was a little bit of a troubled youth. I didn't have arrest records or anything like that, but I was just a little a-hole. So I walked into the Coast Guard's office. I said, I want to go. Let's go. Sign me up. And they looked at me and they ran me through some questions and they said, we're sorry, you're not Coast Guard material. I walked right across the hall to the Army guy and signed a contract that day. And 2 weeks later, the Coast Guard called me back and said, hey, you want to come back? Sorry, I'm going to basic soon.
Is that probably why I've barely met anyone from the Coast Guard, because just no one's their material, or what, man? It's like they got hard to find them, man. I think I met one Coast Guard veteran. That's it. I met
one. When I was transitioning out, I went through Deloitte's core leadership program, which is typically catered to junior officers, right?
Okay.
And they send you down to the Deloitte campus in Dallas, Fort Worth, but they do let in some enlisted folk as long as you have a college degree, right? So you spend 3 days down there. There was one Coast Guard lady. She was an officer in the Coast Guard. That was the only one I've ever met.
That's same. Actually, looking back at it, I met two. I worked with one when I first got in the military, and then I got one in my MBA classes. So I still haven't got him on yet, but Nick knows he's going to get on here and share stories. So that'd be the first Coast Guard person. And then after that, all I need to find is someone in the Space Force, and I think I got everyone covered. So you know what I mean? I don't know where they're at. They're all in Mars or something like that. I don't really know where they're at right now, but
running around somewhere with all their bling on their uniform. Yeah, if you find a Coast Guard person, send me that podcast for sure, because I'm very curious about their stories.
Okay. Well, he told me a pretty good one in class. He said, "You know what a white tuna is?"
You mean like the actual fish?
Oh, that's what I thought, but actually, it's not a fish. It's actually a brick of cocaine.
Oh,
yeah, that's a white tuna. That's what they call a white tuna, man. I just laughed. I was like, damn, that's pretty good, man. But yeah, Coast Guard, he got to have some good stories. So I have to get Nick on here, and I'll definitely share that with you. So when you joined the Army, did you do 18 X-ray?
No, I went and joined as a diesel mechanic.
Okay.
Because originally my intent was get some job experience, right? The economy was hot trash. They weren't paying good. 2006 was just a horrible time frame. So I was like, all right, I'll do my 3 years. I'll go get some experience as a mechanic. I'll jump back out. I'll go back to mechanic school, become ASE certified, go on and do great things for, maybe Caterpillar or Cummins or somebody like that. And then it's a very long story, but I'm sure you'll get there. But yeah, eventually I became Special Forces several years later.
Well, what made you dive into that? Like, what was the turning point?
So I was in the 82nd, and I've never been the best at following all of the rules on paper, or at least understanding them. So I showed up a little late to my unit because I misunderstood the leave time frame. So I showed up late, and so they put me in the worst unit possible at the 82nd, 21st Chemical Company as a mechanic, and that was in the sustainment brigade. All my other friends went to line units and everything like that. But then that unit eventually got kicked out of the 82nd. They removed their airborne status. They lost their Maroon Beret. And I missed jumping out of airplanes. I liked being airborne. I liked exiting aircraft. It was fun. It made me feel cool and important, especially at Fort Bragg, right? If you're not airborne at Fort Bragg, what are you even doing there?
All the way. All the way.
So I called my branch manager and said, hey, get me out of here. I heard Colorado's awesome. There's an airborne unit there, 10 Special Forces group. Let's go. So we actually got me reassigned. I showed up there. My first week there, they asked who wanted to go to Iraq. I was the only chucklehead that raised my hand. And so they sent me over to the teams. And then I spent the rest of my time there, except for when I was transitioning out of 10th Group with Bravo Company 3rd Battalion, or 2nd Battalion, sorry, Bravo Company 2nd Battalion, bouncing around with different teams there. So that was the part that got me interested in going to Special Forces. And then really what set me off was, and I didn't understand it at the time, but I saw all these older Green Berets that were kind of, broken, maybe a little bit overweight, things like that. Granted, now they've been in combat for the past, at that point, 10-ish years in and out of Afghanistan, Iraq. So I was like, I'll show these guys. I'll show them.
Yeah.
So I went to selection the first time, totally unprepared after a deployment to Baghdad. Not a lot of rucking in Baghdad, and I was not fast enough. So they took me out. They kicked me out of selection. They said, "You're not fast enough. Go away." So I said, "You can come back when you're faster." So then I went on another deployment to Iraq. This time it was to northern Iraq. Much more opportunities to ruck. And I came back and I crushed it. I learned my lesson the first time, hit it out of the park. But really, the catalyst was I want to show these a-holes. I thought they were a-holes. I want to show these Green Berets that I'm better than them. So that was the goal. I tried my damnedest. And then after I got selected and I went to the Q course, there was a few of those guys that I worked with that were sent to the Q course, and they would eventually become my cadre, and they would mess with me along the way. So it made for some pretty good memories.
Did you ever think about not going back, or were you sort of determined, like you said, the people, you're like, I'm gonna do this, you know what I mean? Like, so you knew you were going back a second time?
I knew it the second I was gone. I was like, I have to go back. I have no choice, right? I need to be here. I need to show them. I have to prove this to myself. It was kind of that itch to make somebody proud.
What was the hardest part? What was the hardest part of the first part of it? What is this? You said Q course. What was the hardest
Q
part?
course and selection. The hardest part was mentally it was interesting, but the mental game was challenging. But you have to have the physical part, and I was not, and I'm not a big guy. I mean, right now I think I'm like $180. I lost like 25 pounds when I got out. Which is usually it goes the other way. But even during selection in the Q course, I was not a big guy. These rucksacks that we're carrying, you especially during certain events, you're carrying upwards of 100 pounds. Or if you're lifting the log above your head, or if you're doing all these crazy things, you have serious weight on your back and you're going forward. So like the weight of my load ratio to my body weight was very high as compared to some of these other gentlemen that would come in there at 220, lean muscle, strap on, 65 pounds and just freaking go. Or these 18 x-rays, right? That trained for years for this specific portion of life, and they would come in and just leave everybody in the dust like it was another Tuesday. Um, so that was the hardest part, was the ability to keep up even when my body was telling me this is not good for you. But I did it and pushed through.
Yeah, 70 pounds, man. That's like having a midget on your back.
Yeah, it's intense,
Something,
especially
man.
in
You know.
Fort Bragg in the summer. 100% humidity. Oh, come on. And sand and water and sweat, making you wear the full uniform. No, that was horrible. I will never do that again.
What about the land nav course? I heard that's pretty a pain in the ass. Like you guys going through all types of crazy terrain and stuff like that. Really, not
It
that
is.
bad for you, or
No, I don't think. I mean, it sucks. It sucks. Let's be real. It sucks. You're walking in the dark without a flashlight. Spiders are there. Spiders are probably the scariest thing out there. I mean, maybe you see some snakes here or there, but really the spiders are the big scary thing. Because you're walking through the woods at night, and all of a sudden, boom, a spider pops up in front of your face, and they're the big black and yellow looking things with the long legs, in the
yeah.
woods. Or you wake up in the middle of the night and you see just wolf spiders everywhere. Yeah, it's not that bad. I think the biggest challenge with the land nav was we get in our own way. We overanalyze the situation and we say, okay, this point is this distance at this direction. I'm going to walk this distance at this direction for the next 2 hours, and I'm gonna run straight into it. That's where a lot of people failed, and it's not that. It's I have to come up with a plan. It is there. I have obstacles along the way. I'm going to walk 500 yards to this, and then I'm going to go to 500 yards to this, and then 500 yards to that. And I'm going to skirt around these things. And I'm going to use, a little bit of common sense and problem solving to get to the end goal. Okay, I'm going
Absolutely.
to do that. Yeah.
What language did you end up getting?
Arabic. They assigned me Arabic after a very heated debate. I tried to get Spanish because it's the easiest.
Yeah.
And I thought seventh group would be cool. And also my daughter at the time, I was going through a divorce, or I went through a divorce. So my daughter was out in Colorado. So I figured, I could maybe get Russian and end up back at 10th group. Or maybe I could get Spanish and end up at seventh group. So I was trying to go through a negotiation process with them, but they kind of tell you what you're going to have.
Yeah.
And they said you can do Chinese. So I'm not going to do Chinese. I can't do Chinese. I said, okay, well, how about Arabic? And I said, well, how about Russian? How about Spanish? And they said, no. Arabic or leave it. You either take this or you're gone. I was like, okay.
You must have scored too high on the D Lab then.
Yeah, that magical made up language test that I guessed on.
Hey man, see your way out, right? See, get degrees, see all the way down. That's wild, though, man.
It did. I used that. You don't know the answer, go to C. Yeah.
There you go. If anyone's listening, man, and you're going through special forces, you might get C, you might get you Arabic. So try B or A or D. I don't know. You want Spanish, but try D. How did you like being an 18 Charlie once you got all your training done and everything like that? Where'd you end up going to, and how'd you like it?
I loved it. I think the job fit me very well. Right. I like working with my hands. Right. And I was pretty good at coordinating and doing projects and logistics, and it got me to touch explosives. So that's a big part of the job. Unfortunately, not as big of a part of the job as I would have hoped. Most of the time it was paperwork and supplies and logistics, which actually sets you up pretty good in life afterwards. But I loved it. It was awesome. I did a lot. I mean, I did so many schools. It was fairly intense, because if you weren't at a deployment or on a deployment, you were going to schools and you were back. We had like this mandatory time where we would try to be, doing some training. But outside of that, if you had schools, you were going to them. And I had some pretty good leadership. And I wasn't married when I first got there. So naturally, I scooped up every school I could. And then towards the tail end, I got remarried and I tapered off from the schools, and then eventually exited.
What were some of your favorite schools that you got to go to?
Some of the funner ones were kind of these low-level forensic schools, like site-sensitive exploitation. So that was a fun one. And we also did like a homemade explosives portion of it. But we went down to Fort Bragg for about a month and basically learned how to do forensics and a little bit of interrogation, tactical interrogation. and then a little bit of homemade explosives. So you have to learn how to obviously make the explosives if you're going to do forensics on the explosives. So we would build it; they would all be homemade, and we do forensics on it. That was a fun one. That was a really fun one. And then another fun one was I went to a long course out in Seattle, Washington for a few months, and we got to learn how to more in depth work with humans at like a very dynamic interpersonal level.
Okay.
That one really set me up for success on the outside, because you learned how to talk to people in a way that you could guide a conversation towards a certain goal.
Okay. Oh, not bad. I've never even heard of those two schools. So it's probably mostly offered to like the SF community?
Yeah. Yes. It is.
Okay. Did you go to SEER school, obviously, right? How was that for you?
What was that?
SEER school?
Oh yeah, SEER school was in the Q course. That was fun. That was that was fun. I have never eaten until, or ate, whatever the proper English is. I've never consumed so much food that I threw up. But as soon as I got out of SEER school, like when we
Oh,
get
damn.
liberated at the end, and we're at the very end, that was the first time in my life I ate until I threw up, and that was fun. But yeah, SEER school was fun. I'm glad I didn't go in the middle of the winter. I think that would have been horrible. I kind of got lucky with the middle of summer. Well, they fed us plenty of water. It was good.
You didn't like catching your own pigeons or whatever you could find there and grilling that up? That wasn't
Oh
that
man,
tasty for you?
that was horrible. That part was horrible. When I went through, it was like record-breaking rainfall for North Carolina. So it was like 40 days of straight rain. They hadn't had that much rain in decades. So everything was flooded. None of the animals were out doing things. Traps wouldn't work. The best thing I could come up with the best thing I could come up with was eating worms. So like the rivers were overflowing too. So I tried to fish in the rivers or trap snakes or anything like that, but it was moving too fast. So basically, I survived off of worms, wild berries, and a couple leaves. But I eventually got dysentery. I can imagine why. And then
Damn.
I had to go through the rest of SEER school with dysentery. They got so bad they actually gave me medicine. But you know, when you're in a survival situation, like if that was real life, or you look back at Vietnam, those type of illnesses that's what would kill more people in the POW camps than anything else, or in
Yeah.
any kind of survival situation. You get sick and you're in a survival situation and you don't have access to medicine, like you'll crap yourself until you dehydrate and die.
Dude,
That's real.
dysentery is no damn joke. I got that in Afghanistan, man. And oh
Oh
man, like
yeah.
you said, Jesus, dude. I feel you. I've never been to SEER school. I never got like no bones tampered with it on purpose, but I did get dysentery, man. And shout out to some people that helped take care of me, in
Yeah.
2CR, because that shit's not fun. You can't control anything, man. You can't control it. It's coming out, and yeah, good point on that. Like, you're right. Even like when I read like this book, I think it's called A Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl, and it talk about like the POW camps, like in the Nazis days, Jewish, like the concentration camps and stuff like that. And yeah, most people would die because they just got sick and had nothing to get them better. They have no access to medical care. So that's wild.
It's real. It's a real threat.
Jeez. How many times did you end up deploying as a 18 Charlie?
As an 18 Charlie, five deployments.
6 months.
I had 2 before, and then 5 afterwards. But all my deployments were with special forces.
Okay.
They varied in length. I think the longest was 8 months. 9 months was the longest. The shortest was like 1.5. Right.
Okay.
So
where'd you have to go?
Oh man, because I spoke Arabic, I went to all the funnest places in the world.
Afghanistan, Iraq, Jordan.
Actually, ISIS ruined the Afghanistan trip for me. I was supposed to go to Afghanistan. That was our next deployment, and then ISIS did their little fun thing where they started touring the Middle East and burning everything down. So they redirected us, and I went to Lebanon next because that's where they were pushing to. So we went to Lebanon, and then after that, I bounced around some more places. Lebanon is probably the best, but I went to Lebanon, Saudi, Jordan, Iraq, Syria. Yeah.
Jordan, Saudi. Was Jordan pretty all right? I heard kind of mix. It was like, some nice historical sites, I guess, if you got to see it, and if you had off time. But I don't really know what you're doing over there. So
I was there for a little bit. More or less kind of just passing through. So I got to do more. Our work was front loaded, so we knocked that out immediately, and then I got to do some tourist type activities to go see Petra. That was amazing.
The Rock Church. Yeah, I was going to ask you that.
Oh, that was awesome. Of course, I got hustled by some little Bedouin kids trying to sell me rocks. My daughter at the time, my oldest one, she liked to collect rocks. So everywhere I went, I got her rocks. And so I was trying to find the best rocks at Petra, something that looked like, the structure. So I started talking with these little Bedouin kids, and they were trying to hustle me and sell me some things. And I overpaid for some rocks that I could have easily went and found. But I did everything I could in Jordan. I went and saw the temple for Hercules.
Okay.
Went around to some other places. I wish I would have bought more souvenirs, but I was always trying to keep a low profile ish.
Yeah.
And that's like my biggest regret out of all my trips is I didn't get enough souvenirs. Even in somewhere like Jordan, I should have bought more. I went to the Dead Sea too.
Did you get in?
Yeah, I dove in first. So like I said, I'm probably not the smartest cat in the world. There was a big sign and everyone was like, "Hey, don't dive into the Dead Sea. It's super salty. It's gonna burn." Like, I'll show you. So I dove in head first. Man, that salt! I had to get out. I was like blinded from the salt. I had to get out and take a hose to my eyes for like 15 minutes. Try to rinse all the salt off.
That's worse than CS, man.
What's that?
Sounds like it's worse than CS gas.
Oh, yeah, about the same.
Up there with it. Yeah.
When it got into your eyes, it was probably worse than CS.
So what are you supposed to do?
Different on your skin.
What are you supposed to do? Just ease your way in and then just kind of like back float or something like that? You're supposed to sink, float up and then just pretty much get out.
Just bob around, just kind of ease in and bob around. So if you try to stand straight up, you can feel yourself bobbing, right?
Oh, damn.
You can just lay back like you're on a floaty and you'll be perfectly fine. Like there was people out there reading newspapers and magazines floating in the sea. And of course we went through, I tried to make it as more of a local or like culturally immersed trip as possible. So I avoided all the places where the Westerners were. So I could have easily went to like the Marriott next to the Dead Sea and had a good time and saw other Westerners, maybe had a mojito or something like that. But instead I went to the place where all of the Arabs go. And I ate Arab food and got to live in got to stay with their little, very culturally immersed resort, and far different culture, far different than anything that the Western people would have or tolerated. Got to see a lot of beautiful men in Speedos. Of course, all of their wives were in burkinis, but the men were in Speedos. It was just.
Their ankles and their eyelids showing.
I lost you on audio for a second. There we go.
Can you hear me?
Yep, gotcha now.
Okay. I was going to say the men showing all, and then the women are showing ankles.
Oh, yeah.
Should. So you really want to go back over there and get a Speedo is what you're saying. You should have picked up on that straight and it happened, right?
Yeah. Go back over there, get a Speedo, soak my whole body in olive oil, get a nice rich tan. I'm telling you, man, that's it.
That's it, man. I can't go wrong, man. It sounds like a retirement plan. You still got a chance.
Yeah. For retirement, that's probably the ultimate goal. I would love to take my wife over there, but maybe instead of like the Jordan side, maybe take her over to the Israel side or something like that.
Yeah, Israel seems like it's pretty nice, although they get always getting bombarded with rockets every day, but they got that Iron Dome, man, keeping them safe. But definitely a place to check off. I'd like to get out there too. So when you became 18 Charlie, did you think about hey, I'm just gonna stay in until I do 20 or 30 years? Or what was your mindset on that?
Stay in forever. That was the goal. That was my goal. I was going to stay in. I was going to go become a warrant officer, and I was just going to ride that out until the very end, as long as I possibly could. But life happens, and it comes at you fast. Oh, I keep having audio problems, my guy.
Can you hear me?
Can you hear me fine? Yeah, I can hear now.
I got you. It's about to get, it's something about to get good, man. They're trying to cut us off.
Yeah, they are. They are.
It's all good though, man. I always got some opposition out there. Probably the dudes in the Speedos here, and we talking about them. But no,
they knew it was coming.
They knew it was coming, man. We put them out there. Now everyone's going to get over there and get in with the clan. So we dropped the dime. We might as well just end it now. That's it, man. Everyone take care. We'll get back to y'all later. But now I was saying, well, what event happened? What life event happened that you had to sort of change your mind or put you on another trajectory?
Family is what happened. So when I was younger, I married really young when I was in the 82nd, and then I had a child, and then I got divorced, and then I went to selection, and I tried to make it work. And so my first daughter, she was in a different state. She eventually, her and her mom moved back to Illinois, where they're from. Or actually, I was from there too. But that separation happened, and I lived at Fort Campbell, so it was a 7-hour drive. So I drove to Illinois every other weekend. Even on the short weekends, I would do 14 hours in the car. I'm getting in the car, haul ass up to Illinois, see my daughter come back down. You look like you were going to say something. Go ahead.
No, I was saying, damn, you got to get on I-24 and head north, right?
It was intense, man. It was intense. It was a long drive. I got to memorize those highways. It was like I-24 to 57 to 55 to 39 to 80. It was,
damn.
It was 500 miles straight from door to door. And I blew my car engine on one trip. Was fun. Got stuck in Effingham, but I met my wife when I was doing one of those trips. My now wife, and then we eventually got married. She had a daughter as well, so she couldn't leave Illinois. I was doing a custody fight before I even met my wife. I was fighting for custody of my daughter, and the great state of Illinois would not let my daughter leave. So I fought for about 5 years. That didn't work out. My wife tried to leave. That didn't work out. So then we came to the realization of, okay, well, either I stay in or I go to the National Guard or I get out. And then I went on my Syria trip, came back, and I was in a lot of pain. And then they medically retired me. When I started going to the doctor, they were like, nope, you're done. You're out, buddy. See you later. So that kind of sealed the fate along the way. It's like, all right, well, I'm done. Let's go ahead and build a house. The economy was not horrible, so I got very fortunate. Was able to build a house much cheaper than people can now, and it was back before COVID, so there was still supply. And then took the transition as serious as I possibly could. Made it my life. Made it a full-time job.
Okay. What was like the perception on sick call and group? Was it something that people took advantage of? Not like advantage of, but it's something. Go ahead.
It was. You were not allowed. When I first, and now towards the tail end, because my leadership towards the tail end was a little different than my leadership in the beginning. At the tail end, the guys, they were okay with it. If you needed help, go get help. That was kind of the mentality. Okay. In the beginning, it was more like, no. In fact, I had a team sergeant early on, and he was like, hey, if you go to see the doctor and you miss training, you will receive negative counseling. You will be punished. And if you continue to do that, I will remove you from my team. Wow. It was very intense.
That's just setting everyone up for failure, life after the military. Even if you did 30, whatever, 40, however long you can do in the military, dude, we're all getting out. And it's like, if you would have never got hurt, but you had stuff wrong before, like you had a major accident and you never went, how would you get your disability when you get out? You know what I mean? It's like,
oh yeah, I had that problem because I never went to the doctor. I didn't go to the doctor for so I didn't go in selection, I didn't go in the Q course, and I didn't go after. So there was a period of about maybe 2009 through 2019, 10 years that I didn't go to the doctor unless I had to. And that was like for dental, right? Oh, you're on the hit list for dental. Go see the doctor. Got it. Oh, you're on, you got to go get these shots. Go get them. Got it. Other than that, everything was handled internally on the team, but there was no documentation. So I really got screwed right there towards the end. So I had to make my transition as serious as possible. And ironically enough, I feel sorry for the guy now, but my first team sergeant, he ended up because of that mentality, he ended up suffering more than any of us in the end. Like he had some very deep issues that he had to work through, and I imagine that he's never going to be the man that he once was. He lost pretty much everything, which is very, very unfortunate, very sad. But the ones at the end, they were able to kind of pull themselves together and help us, learn from that. And then I made my last year in just dedicated to documenting everything that I possibly could. That was it. Like, okay, every single day or every other day, I'm going to go to the doctor. I'm going to focus on this one area. So I just made continuous appointments at the doctor. Go there. Hey, today we're going to focus on my wrist. It's in pain. It's been in pain for 3 years. Okay, today we're going to focus on my shoulder. For the last 3 years, every time I hold my rifle up, my arm goes numb. What can we do? Hey, I'm going to focus on my back, my hip, my knees, blah, 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 blah. And eventually they were like, dude, they're like, guy, man, you got some problems. You need some surgeries. And it's like, well, how long's the recovery for surgeries? And they're like, well, maybe 6 months for these surgeries that you're looking at. It's like, I don't have time for that. I don't have time for that. My daughter lives here. I live alone. My wife's up in Illinois. I'm exiting right now. Let's put them off. So I made some pretty poor health decisions along the way. So I'm ultimately paying for those right now, but I'll get there.
Man, speaking on that team sergeant, it's like it's crazy that he was so brainwashed himself that he didn't even try. He was so numb to seek help, right? Like even me, man, I was a cook, and even when I went to Fort Campbell and got to the sustainment brigade, you still not going to sick call. You're not. They got road guards in the parking lot, man. You know what I mean? You're not getting out.
You're faking it. You're faking it.
Yeah, take a knee, drink water. Chug the whole 2 quart or the 1 quart, take ibuprofen and report back. You know what I mean? It was like, so, I mean, I think it was
horrible.
It looks very wide, man. Yeah, it's crazy, but like, what put you in gear to really just, that you just start taking care of yourself? Was it someone else on the team that said, hey, we got to start doing this? Or did you just like come to, that thought yourself and just start taking action?
No, it was my last team sergeant.
Okay.
His name's Kevin. Great guy. Love Kevin. Awesome guy. He made it very clear when he took over. He said, if you need help, actually, even the team sergeant before him was good about it too. Actually, you probably see him on LinkedIn, Herb Thompson. He's all over the place.
I try to hit him up. Maybe I can get him on one time, but it seems like he's doing this thing out there, author, speaker. Awesome. Yeah. Big Herb.
Yeah, he was my senior, or he used to do my job, and then I showed up to the team and he moved on to another job. But he was there through all of my career as the Green Beret. Most of my career as a Green Beret. And then when he became the team sergeant, he was like, all right, you got some issues, go take care of them. Just don't let it affect, your ability to train. And so we made it a priority, and we started taking care of it. But then the next one after him was like, no, check it out. You are the priority. Your mental health, your physical health, all of your health is the priority. That comes first. Your family is the priority. And even Herb, when I was fighting for custody of my daughter, she'd come spend the summers down there. So if we weren't deployed, Herb would be like, all right, man, your daughter's here. We're going out to the field for the next 3 nights. If you can come and bring her during the day, that's cool. If not, we'll see you when we see you. But he made sure that I had the resources to take care of myself and my family. And then the one after him upped the ante and was, almost enforced it strongly. Like, dude, you need to take a knee. Like, go see somebody.
That's good to hear, though. You got like if you're not at your best, how are you going to be able to provide the best value for your team? You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, you can't have the issues lingering and then not take care of yourself. How are you going to take care of your teammates? You know what I mean? You're not going to be your best self. So that's good that it's good leadership. Take care of yourself. You're the priority, and then everything else will follow. So I'm glad to hear that you got on the right track, and was because it seems like the special forces community, when you talk to you guys, you got tight knit, first man basis sometimes, or most of the time, probably, right? A little bit more lenient, but hard charge and train hard and take care of each other. And sometimes that's not always the case in the regular Army or probably the Reserves, National Guard. I know I can only speak on my behalf, and I had no one to look out for me, man. But in all reality, when you get out the military, not a lot of people are going to come check, and the Army's not going to come check on you. If you got some good friends, good leadership, they will, but that's few and far between, right? You count some good friends on one hand, that's a blessing, right? So you really got to take it upon yourself to take care of yourself, not only for you, but for your family and for your future. So, you know, you definitely did the right thing by doing it. And good thing you didn't have to scramble with like 30 days away and, 30 days out to do all that, because you would have never even probably been where you were when you were able to get out in the first place. Did you get med boarded then?
I did.
Okay.
And
it all went through for you.
It all went through, and I wasn't even planning on doing a med board. Like I started the whole process to get out, and I went and took my packet because they say, hey, when you start getting out, you can go see the VA representative immediately, right? Like you can start the process 180 days out.
Right.
So I started the process, and I set my packet in front of him to go start reviewing the documents, and he pushed it right back at me and said, don't do this. Go talk to your doctor right now. You should be getting med boarded. I was like, okay. So there was some really awesome people along the way that helped me out, and I owe a lot to those people because they did it out of the kindness of their heart. Like they knew this is right. I'm going to help you. And even the JAG officer that helped me, amazing guy, brilliant guy, knew the laws in and out. Used to be in the military. He had cancer. He was fighting cancer, and he would still work 16-hour days to help soldiers as they were he was the real deal. He wasn't one of those JAG officers that you see on like TV, running around causing a muck, trying to get people thrown in the brig. Like he was looking out for you. He was an amazing guy. And then, like you said, finding people along the way to help you is important. So I attached myself to every good person I could find. Everybody knew more than me. I'd have conversations with them. I'd figure things out, and I just wanted to build a community because I felt bad about leaving mine behind, and it's worked out pretty well.
So it doesn't seem like you really had a problem swallowing your pride and finding the help that you needed. You didn't mind talking to other people, being open and trying to just be honest and take the best route that you could, right?
Yep. I was scared. I was scared. I knew my ego will always get you in trouble. Your pride will always get you in trouble all the time, every single time. If you want to find out how to defeat somebody, you go tap into their ego. And I knew that. I recognized it. So I made an effort to step back and say, all right, what do I have to do to help my family out? It's not about me anymore. Like, okay, I did my time, I served it, I deserve some things, but no. My family deserves for me to be in a good place.
Right.
How can I get there? And that's been the journey for the past 3.5 years.
Okay. Did what was your plan? Like, you got your disability rating before you got out, right? That's the thing with the med board. You're going to get your disability rating before you transition from the Army, which is great because sometimes, like me, I didn't even go to the VA appointment, so I screwed myself over. You know what I mean? I didn't have anyone in my ear saying, "Hey, you got to go to that appointment." But I got to blame myself, man. I'm not looking to blame, but it is what it is. But it took me 5 years. So for anyone listening, don't be proactive. I got out and shit hit the fan big time. At first it was all right. I was working, had a good job lined up, but hey, life happens, man. You get hit with a Claymore mine. You got a kid on the way, living at home with your mom and dad in another bedroom instead of living by yourself. And holy shit, man, I'm making $13, $12 an hour. Well, let me see if I get disability. I broke my foot. I've been deployed. I got all this stuff in my medical records, but I failed to go to the appointment before I got out of the Army and get my disability. Now I got to work backwards. And then when you get in that, everyone's, I don't have time to go to the VA. Well, the VA sucks. Well, man, you're just doing yourself a disservice at the end of the day because you're leaving benefits on the table, whether it's money, whether it's tax exemption, whether it's a handicap sticker, whatever the case may be, the educational benefits for your family. So don't do that. Don't be like me, please. That's one of the reasons why I try to do the podcast is be proactive rather than reactive, and don't leave the Army mad because you had shit. Just if you got those people in your corner, that's fine, but take care of yourself and your soldiers along the way. Like don't leave it up because who can't use the extra couple $1,000 or $300, $400 a month? I think we all could. You're not leaving the Army a millionaire unless you hit the Powerball, and I've never heard anyone doing that yet. So,
No. That's a fair point, though, right? Leadership should be looking out for it. I think maybe we're going in the right direction nowadays, but still, I think it's a long way off. And the Army is trying to protect their budget, or the Navy, or the Air Force, or whoever, right? Their budget for disabled veterans is pretty high.
Yeah,
but there's still money on the table. but it's there for you to go and get it. And they don't enforce, they don't recommend, they don't talk to you enough about it. They're just, and they try to be gatekeepers, and it's just, and it's a challenge. I did reach out to a bunch of nonprofits like the Wounded Warrior Project, and then I had reservations about them just because of what I saw in the news, years before.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, my experience with the Wounded Warrior projects was amazing, and it still is. I still remain in contact with them. And I live in the middle of nowhere, so it's very hard for me to go to like an event. But if they ever have an event near me, and it's not like during my daughter's volleyball game, I'll try to get there. But there's a bunch of nonprofits out there. Even if you want legal help, again, you have to do the research. But there's this this legal assistance website, NVLSP. It's like the National Veterans Legal Service Provider or something. I forget what SP stands for, but it's a nonprofit for veterans.
Okay.
And if you need legal assistance for, for medical retirement, for your VA compensation, for documentation, for anything, they find pro bono lawyers to help you. And there's a lot of assets out there where we can lean on them. We don't have to be the experts. You don't ever have to be. Even at my work right now, I work in the tech space. Dude, I haven't been doing sales for 30 years. I'm not the biggest expert in the world, but I lean on the experts all the time, and that's all we have to do.
Yeah, you're right. And you make a good point going back to what you said on, just people in the military don't know what it's like getting out because they haven't done it yet. So when they have to go to the range of the field, and you got Zach getting out or Michael, whoever you are, getting out, dude, they don't even know what it's like going through ACAP or TAPS or whatever you want to call it, because they're still charged with holding the platoon formation. So it's like you kind of got to listen to get around people, like you said, get around the experts, get around a VSO, get around the Wounded Warrior Project or a local organization that can point you in the right direction, and or get on LinkedIn or Facebook groups. They got all types of stuff that you can ask questions, but if you don't ask, you're never gonna get fed, right? So you gotta be vulnerable. You gotta ask questions, or you're gonna be. Don't do it. Don't try to do it by yourself. So what was your plan for, after you got the med board and everything like that? Did you have a plan getting out? Did you know what you wanted to do?
No. Yes and no. I knew I wanted to make a paycheck. That was it. Okay. But there's so many options. No one tells you this when you're looking at, out the outside. There's so many options. Like even if you look at one job across several industries, it has 47 different titles on it, right? And every organization is different. Culture this and culture that, and remote work and in office, and there's so many variables. It's insane. But again, I reached out to some nonprofits that helped me kind of discover what I wanted to do. So I went through a bunch of exercises. I got mentors. I got coaches, free, obviously, because I was, even though I was in the military, enlisted folk, even as a Green Beret, man, you don't make that much money. Let's be real here, especially when you have child support and other kids and a wife and 2 houses. Like, man, or a condo. It was bananas. Money was tight. Is tight. Always will. It hasn't got any better for some reason out here. The economy sucks ass. Pardon my French.
Just get worse, man. Yeah.
But I reached out to nonprofits, right? That was the whole thing. Like, there's people out there that dedicate their lives to helping you. They want to help you. And so they gave me personality tests, career tests, had mentors and coaches that pointed me in directions. I talked to every single person I could. And that opened up so many doors for me. And that eventually is what landed me every job I've had since I've been out, is my network of friends, coaches, friends, mentors. They have all been like, Zach, here it is. Zach, here it is. Zach, here it is. They bring you to the door, and then it's up to you to open it and go through it. And that's it's been a very rewarding experience having the people in my hip pocket, man. It's been amazing.
Was that the Honor Foundation?
I did the Honor Foundation, Elite Meet, and there was a few other ones that I talked to as well. But yeah, those were the 2 that I focused on.
Can you kind of?
I volunteered at those places since I've been out as well.
Okay. Can you kind of talk about both of those places and just touch on each one? Maybe give a couple points. What you found valuable or what their mission is. I know the Honor Foundation deals with SF community, but you'd be a better resource than me. So.
Yeah, yeah. Well, both of those places deal with, or they cater towards special operations persons. Then it's not exclusively special operations. Like you could be Navy EOD, or you could have been, a cook attached to JSOC for 15 years, right? I have met more high-speed dudes attached to JSOC that have done more with their military career than I ever could have. I'm talking like fuelers. I met a fueler that was with JSOC that I know I'm going off on a tangent here, but he went to free fall school so he could parachute in with his fuel resupply.
Damn.
Like, dude, this dude was more badass than any other guy that was non-combat arms that I've ever met in my life. He was an amazing, amazing person. Totally high speed. Anyway, like those types of people, like
Hold on a second. I gotta say something real quick while we're
yeah,
on that. So like if I was a cook, I could free fall with my Traeger grill or my green egg and just go in and start cooking steaks.
yeah. I would probably
Yeah.
not take the egg because man, it's fragile. I broke mine once. But
Maybe Blackstone or something, Traeger or
yeah,
Blackstone or something like that, man.
yeah,
Damn.
bag of oh yeah, bring in some charcoal lumpettes. Oh man, some steaks with you. I'm telling you,
Crab leg steak,
a
man.
good
Have
cook
some
is
turkey.
important in life.
Shit, yeah, man. They don't. A lot of people don't realize that. They always say like Army cooks from within, but like you got to understand, like the military doesn't give you the best quality food. Okay, we all know that for a fact. But when you go out in the middle of nowhere, Afghanistan, and you're cooking in a trailer, and you're making the morale happen, make or break the morale, like the internet, food.
Yeah.
Water, are you got porta potties or you got flushing toilets? All that stuff, man, that makes, or getting mail, all that stuff make or break a deployment. So you're absolutely right.
I think food's like the number one morale booster
It's
in the
gotta
military.
be,
I think
man.
it is. I'm pretty sure it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And with the Honor Foundation, yeah, you go and you submit an application, and it's basically like a college course length. Um, there are cohorts. If you live near one of the buildings, you'll go to it. I think there's one in North Carolina now. I got one in California, Washington. They're generally around these major hubs of special operations guys. I think it started with the SEALs. Navy SEALs started it naturally because they're far better at helping themselves than any of us Army guys ever will be. But yeah, you basically submit an application, you get in, you get assigned a coach. They call these things cups of coffee, and you're encouraged to have hundreds of cups of coffee. So you just start building a black book of contacts, having cups of coffee along the way, and they help you learn how to go through the civilian life, right? How to dress, how to talk, how to prepare for an interview, what types of jobs are out there, what are you best suited for, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So they kind of give you classes on that structure, whereas elite meet is more like a hallway. Again, you have to submit an application, you get brought in, but elite meet says, hey, here's the hallway, and down it are doors, and it's up to you to go down the hallway and open these doors. I just bring you to the hallway. Whereas the Honor Foundation would be like, hey, here's a door to a room, and in this room is different options. You can go in there and choose it. So there's all these different tools. Like when I was a mechanic, I learned that there's always a tool for the job. Always a tool for the job, even if it's a spanner wrench, right? That is a very specific tool for a very specific job. Or even you as a cook, right? There's a very specific spatula for the type of food that you're cooking on the type of surface that you're cooking, or a specific serving utensil, or a knife, right? Knives, oh
A
my
knife,
gosh,
yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Knives are
Paring
knives are
knife,
so
boning
cool.
knife, yeah, absolutely.
Yep, a boning knife, or anything like that. There's a specific tool for the job. Same thing when you get out. Like there's not a all-encompassing thing. There is a specific tool for the job that you're trying to achieve, and maybe that's how do I do an interview? How do I find a job? How do I get a mentor? How do I discover what I want to do with my life? How do I pay my bills? How do I find out how to get life insurance? Right? There's all of these things that can help you, but there's also a lot of people that'll take advantage of you. So you got to vet your sources out there, because they will freaking take your money and run.
No, that's true, man, and it's kind of sad because there's people that are gonna try to manipulate you that are in like that are preying on veterans because it's a vulnerable population. Like I remember I did like I'm not talking bad, but it was like Veterati or something like that, which is a
Yeah.
great platform, right? But it's like you link up with people, you can choose your mentor, and then they try to sell you a mid-level marketing scheme or something like that. You know, it's like, dude, what are you doing, man? You're like trying to get me to do this, but you're into preying on vets. But I guess that's everywhere, right?
Yeah, you got to be careful with that. I didn't have a good experience with Veterati either.
Yeah, that's
or there's ones that just are like drinking clubs, or things like that. And it's just, they probably started with the best of intention, but quickly spiraled into the worst.
Yeah. What's one thing that you missed about the military once you got out?
My brothers, man. My brothers. That's it. Now, I would say my brothers and sisters, but I worked in special forces, and it was very rare that I ever worked with a female.
Right.
Now I interacted with them, especially like intelligence females, which are just those are some different beasts, man. I wouldn't mess around with them. But it was the guys that I worked with every single day. It was that environment. Go to work, show up at the team room. It was a team room environment. It was going to living, working, breathing, fighting, joking, smoking, drinking, freaking being in pain together, trauma bonding together. It was that experience of the camaraderie. That's what I miss every day. You'll never have it again in your life, and you can't replicate it. Or at least I haven't found a way to replicate it. It's there. You don't appreciate it when you have it, and then it's gone and you miss it. That's it.
Yeah, that's one thing that's crappy about the military, man. You bond with these people, and sometimes you PTS or ETS or retire, and you're right, man. It's hard to fill that void. I mean, I feel like I'm still trying to find it today. You try to go to veteran meetups or something like that, but it's kind of like a casual thing. It's not the same as living in a team house. Or I worked with special forces when I was a civilian in Africa, so I got to experience that environment. So I was there cooking, ran the whole food service thing, so they appreciated what I did, and it was like they accepted me as like part of their team, and it was a good experience, man. It's way different than the regular Army, man. First name basis. Obviously, I wasn't in the military, but still, it wasn't like parade rest. Like that shit out, man. Like that stuff's good for like when it's needed, I guess. But like, you don't really have to worry about basic discipline. All that stuff's already there. You like well-rounded people that are professionals, experts at their craft, and just take stuff serious, and are usually high performers, hard chargers. So it was a good experience, because I always wanted to be a part of the SF community. But honestly, dude, I'm not going airborne. I don't like heights. I get you. I can't lie to you, man. I actually signed up for airborne school. It was in my contract. I thought I was doing something great. I got $3,000 bonus once complete, and first day I got airborne school, a lieutenant got stuck in a tree, broke his back, something like that. And I'm like, I'm good, man. I'm like, we're good, dude. I'm 220 pounds. Like, they say you hit the ground. I don't know. I guess I was a pussy, but it is what it is, man. You live and learn. Yeah.
It hurts. When I was younger, I loved being airborne. And then as I got older, I liked doing free fall, because that was a lot funner, a lot safer to land once you learned how to do it. But yeah, man, if you ever talk to Herb, he'll tell you all of his jumps were night jumps, because he was the same way. He closed his eyes because he was scared. He didn't like heights.
Damn.
He closed his eyes every jump. And he was a jump master. He used to put people out of the airplane, but he's like, man, fuck that.
I don't know, man. Just but you got no choice. You got to do heights, even in basic training. You got to go up those you got to rappel. You got to do the ropes. You got to do the confidence climb. So it's like there's no backing out of that. So but it's all good. So what'd you end up doing career-wise once you went through Honor Foundation and the other program? Like, what'd you end up setting up for yourself?
I have been mostly in like the sales world.
Okay.
I worked at a startup, which I did not thoroughly enjoy that. I didn't know what I was doing, and I got into a startup, and I was in charge of all the sales, and I was like, I can make this happen. Anyway, then COVID happened, and all went to crap. But I've been bouncing around kind of in different sales roles. So like right now I do post sales. So, and I love it. I love it the most, because it's very similar to what I did when I was in. I just maintain relationships. So the salesperson goes and sells the sale. He sells the product, the technology, and then the customer gets handed to me, and it is up to me to guide them on their journey. So it's just like when I was, Green Beret, like, okay, Zach, here's your partner force. Here's where we want to go, and here's how much time we have to get there. make it happen. Here's your path. Here's the tools and resources that you have. Guide them through their journey, and that's essentially what I do right now on a daily basis with dozens and dozens and dozens of accounts. I meet with them regularly. I guide them on their journey. I help them be successful. I don't have to close anything. I don't have to renew anything. I don't have to do anything other than just make them hit their goals, help them hit their goals. And it's up to them at the end of the day. Like, I can't just hold their hand. Like when you're in the Army, you can't just grab the private and be like, come on, let's go. You're going to hit your goal. If he doesn't want to show up, he doesn't want to show up. So I've disconnected myself from the emotions of it, and I just do the job. I focus on the soul, like I said, the solar system of my life, right? So I'm like, there's different planets that are my life, whether it's hunting, family, maintaining some sort of like physical fitness, even though I don't go to a gym anymore. Diet, outdoor adventures. So I have these different planets that are circling around the solar system of my life. And I assign them at different sizes and times, and some of them touch, some of them don't. And there's little moons that are around them. Anyway, I work as a portion of that. It is not work is not the vehicle. It is the fuel, or part of the fuel, that helps the vehicle move. So now I just get to show up, do something that's fulfilling to me, right? I mean, it's work. It's not always fun. Most of the time, it's scratching the scratch that I need, and I get it done, and I have fun, and then I go on and I go upstairs and I cook my dinner for my kids and run around and chase them and tickle them and trip them and rub their face in the dirt a little bit, and that's it, man. That's life. We're good.
I can't go wrong. I got a 7-year-old son, man. So it's definitely nice having that time to not say, oh, I got to be at, base here. I got to drop my kid at daycare. It's nice to be a dad, man, be a present father. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of people don't get that chance in the military. You've done it with your daughter, your kid when you were in. It's not fun. You got to drive 500 miles door to door. Now you just, walk into the other room and they're there. Go to the park, go play. So good for you, man. I'm glad. I'm sure they're happy. I'm sure your wife and your kids are happy that you're around and, be able to give that time to them. So should be everyone's goal if you have a family.
It should be. Now, my oldest daughter's 15 going on 16, so she's not happy about much in life. So she's a teenager, but you know how it goes.
Yeah.
But I mean, hell, I was a teenager once. I get it. She wants to go for independence and all that fun stuff, but I'm here. I wasn't there before. I'm here now. I am here, present every day, doing the dad thing, wearing the sneakers,
That's good though, man, because some people might not have that same mindset switch. They might think they have to keep going 100 miles an hour doing something, consume themselves into something other than their family, just because that's sort of what you did in the military a little bit. So they think they got to keep that going, but you're really just causing more of a problem. Everyone wants their mom or their dad around. We're not going to be young forever. Your kid's not going to be in the house forever. So it's like, the time's valuable, man. I look back, my son's 7, man. Where'd the time go? You know what I mean? Like, 8 years in the Army felt more like that. Yeah, 7's fun. He plays soccer. So it's good, man. It's good to be there and go out and play at the park and, just not have to worry about too much.
Especially at 7, their brain's just firing in all these different directions, and they come up with these like very interesting thoughts and ideas. And
that's true.
It's the most amazing thing to watch happen. But that's it. Like, how do I slow down? How do I be here now? And that's been the ultimate struggle, because like even in the beginning, I got out and I always had to have a task, and I still find myself doing it. I always have to be accomplishing something and doing something. I can't just sit and be idle, but I'm working on that process. I'm just sitting and being idle and being here in the moment. So I hope everybody can find a path to it. What helped me? Practice. I started doing meditation too about 3 years ago. But that helped me, and then just trying to do it, failing, and then trying to do it, and failing and trying to do it. That's not giving up, failing, struggling, trying to do it, talk to people, learning, it's an experiment. The whole thing's an experiment.
That's true. Persistence, man. You stayed on it, never gave up, and kept going. So good for you. What was your favorite weapon that you got to fire?
M79 grenade launcher. It's the old wooden buttstock Vietnam era single shot grenade launcher.
Okay.
Fun. It's just a fun thing to shoot. There's no sound. I mean, there's a sound, but there's no other sound like it. It's just a thump. You
Yeah.
see the grenade go, and it's just. I mean, it's only about that long, and half of that's a wooden butt stock, and it's been around since the freaking '60s, maybe even the '50s, and they're cool little things, man.
What about your favorite demo? You got to blow some stuff up, big cache or anything like that?
The caches were fun. There's so much work that goes into them that it just takes away from it. However, cratering charges are super fun. Super fun. Man, we used to send just crap into the air all the time. Like either we were doing a cratering charge where we were digging holes, we would do that, and like you just get to see so much dirt and everything come up. You know, we sent a few vehicles into the air, things like that. Just big, powerful. Just I like a lot of explosives. That's it. Just a lot packed into one thing underneath something that gets to send it up high.
Sounds like fun.
Super simple.
When I was in Africa, I missed my chance, man. They invited me to go shoot the minigun. And I was like, oh man, and I didn't go, but I got to shoot the 249 again. That was my first weapon in the Army, so that was like Ryan. He was one of the dudes on the team, and he let me go do it on the range when I was on base. So that was pretty fun, man. He liked that because I knew what I was doing and shit, and I got him to give me a video, and I was like back in Fort Campbell, man, letting loose on it. Just because you're a cook doesn't mean you don't know how to do stuff. Like you said earlier, anyone can do it. In the military, there's endless opportunities if you get around the right unit. And I touched every type of weapon: the Barrett, the other sniper rifle, all type of stuff. So it was good times. Get paid to get. Now you gotta pay for rounds. You gotta do all that. Who's doing that, man? I mean, it's still fun, but kind of expensive.
I don't go shooting as much anymore. I used to shoot every day. Now I have to pay for ammo. And I do not do that.
Nah, man, your disability be swiped. You'd be like, I'm getting 100%. It's gone, man, on ammo.
Oh yeah, very fast. My wife would be very upset. I was like, hey, I spent $500 at the range today. Doing what? Shooting paper? Yep. Super fan.
Yeah. Not even a thrill anymore, man. Your bank account low, and you didn't even with the hunting. At least you get food, right?
Yeah. And I love archery now. So, I mean, archery's a lot. There's no. I mean, it's an arrow. You shoot it and you go get it. You shoot it and you go get it. So that's where I love to.
You seen the new? I seen a bow that has like a couple arrows already loaded in. Have you ever seen that one?
No,
I saw a video.
No.
Don't quote. I'll have to find the link, but it's like you don't have to just it's not a single shot. Like it's a.
I have seen it. Yeah. There's like a little Gatling gun thing on it, and it turns as you.
Yep. Yeah, that looks pretty sick.
That is.
But what's your best hunting kill? What you get?
I only started a couple years back, so I've just been doing white-tailed deer for now. I do go out to Wyoming with a buddy of mine. We served together and we stayed in contact. So I go out there and I try to do elk hunting. I haven't been successful yet. And man, that's a very defeating process. Most, like 90% of people hunting elk don't fill their tags. But last year I was out there. We saw this coyote, and the coyote was running, and it was about 50 yards away, running at a sprint. And I took my Glock out. It was like a Glock 19, so not even a full-size Glock. And I fired 3 rounds, and on the third one, as he was running, I hit him right in the heart. And I was like, that was probably my funnest hunting kill. But I mean, I love shooting these deer from freaking trees, man. Climb up into a tree in the middle of the morning and wait for a deer to come across, or even at nighttime, right before sunset, and then they come up right on you, and you're trying to be silent, and it's a rush. It's a rush shooting deer, and I love it. And then I bring them home, and I eat every damn part of it that I can, process it myself, hang it in the garage, and get my kids around it, get my wife around it. And I still have some left from last year, but now it's getting time for some more deer this year.
You like deer jerky?
Oh yeah, I made some about 3 months ago. I took out a roast and sliced it up and seasoned it and dehydrated it. That was my first time making jerky, and it turned out very good. A little too sweet, but very good.
Okay. Hey, you like Sitka? Like Sitka gear? Hunting gear?
I haven't had it now.
Okay, well they have this they got a military program where you get like really good
Oh,
discounts.
Sitka gear. I thought you said deer. Gear.
Oh my, no, yeah.
That's expensive shit, but
No, dude, they got you can get Sitka Pro as a veteran though. You send in like
really?
you get verified. Yeah, I'll send you the link. But
Yeah, send
yeah,
me the link. That'd be awesome.
you probably like that because
Oh,
I got my brother got a jacket, but it was way cheaper. It was like probably like a $400 or $500 jacket for like $100-something. You know, like
oh yeah,
so
that's life, man. There's so many. You take advantage of those things. That's the only way to make it out here is to freaking take advantage of the discounts you get.
yeah,
You're
absolutely,
a fool not
absolutely,
to.
dude. What's some of the benefits that you use from the VA? Like since you've been out, anything that sticks out that you might want to share?
Yes. I think they call it Chapter 31 or Chapter 35. It's the VRE.
Oh, absolutely.
I used that when I first got out. I got laid off, so I used that for a little bit while I was transitioning into a new job. Awesome people, awesome people. They can do a lot of different things for you. But other than that, I've used Illinois has hunting and fishing privileges, camping privileges. The one that I'll use the most in the future is depending on what state you live in, there's college benefits for your kids. So like
Absolutely.
Illinois, 100% disabled veterans, your kids go to a state school for free. Like out of all the benefits I have, that one's going to be the one that saves me the most money. 3 kids, college,
Yeah.
come on, man, free.
Do they get a stipend too up there?
They might.
Yeah, you might, because I know in Florida it's the same thing. Public university.
I think they get one for books. It's a stipend for books, so it covers tuition to a certain amount, and then you get some for books. But I'll just get them scholarships along the way, and then I started a few savings plans for them as well. Which nowadays, with if you start a 529 college savings plan, I think you can convert it over to an IRA for your kids later on in life, or you can hand it down to your grandkids. So there's just other things out there that you can do, but. Yeah, there's lots of resources out there, especially for the children of veterans. And that's it, man. That's where it's at. How do I hand down a legacy to my kids? How do I make their life better?
Absolutely. Now you're doing it, man. You're on the right path. You know, you're doing what you sacrifice your time in service and the military, and it's paying off, man. Same thing with me. Like I who would have known in the military that you're gonna get VR, and we never even knew these things. All I knew was I'm not going to take a student loan. I've got to go to college. I'm not, I'm going to get my GI Bill. At the time, it was Montgomery GI Bill before they switched to 9/11. And I was going to do 4 years. And then next thing you know, I'm re-enlisting in Afghanistan to go to Germany. Then it's 8 years later. And then my dumb ass gets out 12 different jobs, man. And then I had the idea of like, oh, maybe I should use the GI Bill. The thing that I, went in the military for, well, maybe I should use that now. And at least, $2,400 instead of paid $13 an hour. You actually make more money by going to school because then you can get the Pell Grant for $800. And if you're 100% permanent total, folks, you can actually get your student loans forgiven, which means, in essence, you can apply for loans when you're in school. As long as you graduate, as soon as you graduate, you ask them to be forgiven. Dude, you just got yourself right now. I just got myself a $20,000 a year pay raise, tax free, because that's the maximum amount you can get every year. And then when you graduate, you just say, "Hey, I'm 100% veteran or SSD, Social Security Disability, or the other one about what's the one unemployability, TDIU," and it's gone, man. It's gone. I said, I asked on a Facebook group, like going back to just asking questions, getting yourself around people that have done it. You don't know if you don't ask. So I was like, dude, someone told me, my guy, Michael, and he was telling me, he's like, yeah, I got like $200,000 of student loans wiped out, an MBA and a law degree. I'm like, dude, that's crazy. So, and the money hit my account. So it's out there and it's not a fake. So if you're 100%,
you have to go seek it. No one's going to tell you where it's at. You have to go find it, but it's there. It's always there.
That's true. You're right, man. What are you working on now? What you see yourself doing in the future?
That's a very, very good question. My wife and I are trying to start a business right now.
Okay.
So she does hair. She's been doing hair for the better part of 15 years. Hair, permanent makeup. So women will get their everything tattooed on their face nowadays: eyebrows, eyelashes,
Yeah.
freaking, makeup around their mouth. So she does all of that, and then it's time for us to buy some commercial property and start our own salon. The only crappy part is interest rates for commercial property right now are through the roof, but we'll get there. So I want to stop working for the man. I'll never be able to stop working because I have to have a purpose in life. I have to keep driving towards something, but it'll be a transition between what do we do now and how do we do something for ourselves later on in life. So that's like the 5-year plan, is how do we get there?
Have you heard about IVMF, like the Institute of Veterans and Military Families at Syracuse?
No, I have not.
Okay, so they got this program. I'll send you the link on it. It's called
Yes,
Entrepreneurship Boot Camp for Veterans. So it's EBV, and they have another thing called VY. So like what it is pretty much another benefit for veterans that you can go to, and it's like a boot camp, man. It's like an MBA on steroids. So I submitted it. It's like, if you're interested and you're a disabled veteran, you just apply for it, and they should be doing cohorts again. And based off where you're at, they send you to the closest university. You do like 24 days online, market research and stuff like that. Then you get to actually go on campus for 10 days, and you get to all these different classes. Like, I actually got to go to Cornell because I wanted to do a food truck. And I got alumni status, and like, dude, you can do a business. You might be able to find investors that you can probably borrow money at a lower rate than maybe a loan. But it's just another benefit for us veterans, man, and actually even our spouses that can go out and get submerged in this entrepreneurship, mindset, or environment. And it's a great resource, man. So I'll send you that link over, and maybe that could be of use to you. So, just
absolutely. Well, since you mentioned the food truck too, after you send me those links, I'll take a look and definitely try to leverage them. But the food trucks, there's a veteran in Wyoming that has a food truck business. I can't think of his name, but my buddy just came across him. Double Dubs is the food truck. Anyway, I don't know the guy. You'd have to Google it and see if you can get in contact with them. But Double Dubs is the food truck that tours around most of Wyoming out there, for veteran owned, and also tied into the football team up there. The what is it? The college. I was trying to think of the college name. Anyway, I can't think of it. But anyway, there's the food truck business is doing quite well for him. So, man, hit the gas pedal, have some fun with it.
Yeah, no, that's good. But I feel like I put it on hold after I was contracted, because honestly, like with the food truck, you're not getting money unless you're out cooking. Then I live in the HR. I don't know, man. It's just like a lot of bottlenecks or barriers to entry, and it just takes, I wanted to be here for my son, and I went contracting after I got out the military and had all those dead end jobs. And I'm like, dude, I'm 100%. So that's like $4,100 a month. I'm going to school and getting $2,800 a month. Then I just got the loan, but I'm not doing nothing. I'm selling clothes on eBay, and it sounds funny, but realistically, people are making millions off of people I know for sure are making millions of dollars on eBay. But if you get the right stuff, just trying to sell 20 items a day at $20 profit, that's $400 profit a day. You do the math, that's 6 figures a year. And you're doing it. I'm doing it out of my own garage. I do it on my own time. You just got to get the right stuff and plug away, because you just find the right stuff and you just go search that, man, and just keep going after Patagonia, North Face, Sitka, but it's something I like to do. I think it's fun, and I want to use that money to keep buying real estate. So I got lucky.
Yeah.
I didn't get lucky. I guess I don't think it's luck. I put my mouth where my work, put my foot where my, I don't know, what the hell am I trying to say? I went out to Africa and worked, and started making the money I knew I could make, and I bought a house, and then it appreciated. Then I was able to buy this house now with my VA loan, a 0 down, no PMI, no funding fee. 100%. So I got a rental house, and now I got my other house, and I plan on keep on doing that and just become maybe a little real estate mogul and pass it down to my son, man, and just create generational wealth and move in the right direction. Like, leave a legacy, man.
That's awesome. I love it. I love it. You're making it work. And and that's the best thing is 2023. You can do whatever you want. There's so many opportunities and possibilities. It's like those books when we were a kid where you choose your own adventure. You can
That's
choose it.
true. Yeah, and that's the thing you're probably trying to do. Like, that's one thing I know I'm trying to do with my son. And I'm sure you're probably trying to do with your kids. Instill that mindset that you can do anything. Because if you have that mindset that Mamba mentality, like Kobe Bryant, man, you can go in there and become a killer. Whether it's business, sports, doesn't matter, man. Like, if you believe it, you can do it. And at a young age, that's what I'm trying to do. And it's been working, man. It's great to see fruits of your labor and your kids' hard work pay off. I'm sure you could say the same thing about your daughter. You said she plays volleyball. So, she's in high school, so I'm sure she's probably on the varsity team doing her thing. So make her proud and like, damn, this is nice, So
yeah, let's keep going, have some fun, try it along the way. I love it.
Hey, you want to close out with anything? I appreciate you coming on here, sharing, being vulnerable, and I think the conversation was great. Already an hour, 15 minutes in, but I just wanted to open it up to you and maybe if you had anything to say to anyone out there listening, maybe in the Special Forces community or maybe just someone out there struggling, in the veteran space.
Just because you're not a Green Beret doesn't mean you don't have a community, right? Like my brotherhood, it's been amazing to me. Amazing. I can't speak highly enough about it. But the trick is you got to put it out there, man. You got to have some conversation. You got to go find it. You got to seek it. You got to be involved. You got to try. You got to be a part of it. And there's communities out there for all of us. We just have to try it. And I've made more friends with guys that I've never met and gals I've never met in my life, just trying to be a part of this together. So we're not alone. You could, just because you're not a Green Beret, or even if you are a Green Beret, or whatever, right? Even if you're in the Coast Guard, I'll let you have it.
Yeah.
You can come, reach out to me, have fun, have a contact. I'm here for you, no matter what, no matter which one of you it is, no matter who it is, officer, enlisted, Coast Guard, National Guard, don't give a shit. You're a veteran, man, reach out to me.
Space Force.
What's that?
Space Force.
Do I play sports? Not anymore.
No. Space Force.
Oh, Space Force. Yeah. Sorry. I got to get new AirPods, man. These things are hot trash.
No, you good, man. But nah, man. Hey, I hope we stay connected, and then we could probably rekindle and do another episode whenever. But I'm gonna send you that Sitka Pro. I'm gonna send you that EBV, and if there's anything else I could do for you, I'd be happy to do it. If you got anyone that wants to share their story, I'd be happy to have them on. For everyone that's joined in and listening, thank you guys, thank you ladies. It's not easy. Life's not easy, but that doesn't mean you give up on yourself. Get out of your comfort zone. Push yourself. Tomorrow's not promised. Be the best you can every day that you wake up, whether you got kids or not. At least you feel like you're doing something fulfilling rather than just sitting around and being like a lard ass doing nothing, collecting a check or whatever and just trying to skate by. Do something with your life. Reach out, touch someone else, see if they're all right. We live in a world that we're so connected, but at the same time, we're so disconnected because everyone's scrolling all day, doing nothing, looking at nothing, thinking about nothing, or just thinking about all this negative bullshit that's trying to push down your throat. So appreciate y'all listening in. Like, comment, subscribe. And until next time, y'all have a blessed day. Take care.